So good day everyone. Um, in this video, I'm going to introduce to you to Android Studio. So this is an IDE application where you can develop Android applications. So let's start. What is Android? So basically, it is an open source and it is Linux-based operating system for mobile devices such as smartphones and tablet computers. And we take note that Android applications will only run on Android operating system. Okay, so this is not a cross-platform development for mobile. So this mainly focuses on Android operating systems only. Second will be Android was developed by the Open Handset Alliance. So this is an organization led by Google and other companies. And Android offers a unified approach to application development for mobile devices. So the first beta of the Android SDK was released by Google in 2007, and its from first commercial version is the Android 1.0, which is released on September 2008. And then during the Google I/O conference, Google announced the next Android version, which is the 4.1 Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean is an incremental update, meaning it has a big or large update from its previous versions. So its primary aim is to improving the UI of Android and also its functionality and performance. So here are some features of Android. So there are a lot of developers or a lot of companies prefer Android applications than developing cross-platform applications, pero karon mostly is kanang kung ano man kining mas ginagamit man ang gatong cross-platform because of its mobility. So kani siya mas daghan ng features ang Android kung sa Android siya gamiton. Android operating system na devices. So first we have a beautiful UI. So the Android OS basic screen provides a beautiful and intuitive user interface. Pero as you know karon labi na sa web dev na cross-platform and mobile development, maka-compete naman ug up to par naman sila sa UI. Kaya ang nakaninot lang ani is Android, mas maka-customize ka og layout. Then next will be connectivity. So you can manipulate connectivity on a device. For example, sa kanang mga cross-platform applications gud kana mo gana sa iOS, Windows, and Android. Kuha naman na siya, usage naman yung functionality, naka-applications, na kung saan functionality ato, mo naman yung gamit. Kung if you'll be developing an application to Android, whenever you're coding, you can manipulate the connectivity of an Android device. So you can manipulate its here are some of the connectivity that you can manipulate. You have the GSM Edge, IDEN, CDMA, RIDO, UMPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, so on and so forth. So you can manipulate those via code. Next would be storage. So storage, for Android, we have SQLite. So SQLite is a lightweight relational database. So offline na siya, database. It uses your internal memory, or it depends on how you write the code. If you have external storage, you can use that also in the terms of memory card or SD card. You can use that one also. So it's an offline storage for Android applications called SQLite. And the next one will be media support. So here are the supports for an Android application. All of that's being written in there, and also there are updates. So dili lang na siya na dungagan na siya. Okay, and next would be messaging. So you can manipulate SMS and MMS whenever you're developing Android application. Next would be the web browser. So this is based on the open source WebKit layout engine, and then it's coupled with Chrome, with JavaScript, and supporting HTML5 and CSS3. So even though nga it's a native Android siya, you could still integrate it with Chrome's features, like for example, you're using the JavaScript and will also integrate HTML and CSS. Okay, and then next we have multi-touch. Because we all know Android native support ng multi-touch. It depends on the phone kung support ba ang device o multi-touch. You can manipulate that also through coding. Next would be multitasking. So users can jump from one task to another at the same time. Various applications can run simultaneously. So from the word itself, multitasking. So whenever you're developing an Android application, you can also do and implement that feature on your application. And then resizable widgets. So as I've said, meaning you can customize your layout. So that includes widgets. You can resize them. Okay, your users can manipulate or resize the widgets. Next is multi-language. So Android. So dili lang man ang Android phone, pati ang uban na operating systems has this feature, multi-language. And not the last one, it's GCM, Google Cloud Messaging. So dili lang po ng Android na even even the Windows na siya ito dati. But the iOS, they don't have Google Cloud Messaging because they have their own cloud messaging service. Okay, next is Wi-Fi Direct. So this is a technology which allows to discover devices and pair directly over a high bandwidth peer-to-peer connection. So mura siya higher level Bluetooth connection. Bluetooth pero siya using Wi-Fi. So this mas paspas and mas dali. So man siya ginagamit sa kanang mga transfer, for example kanang mga share it, mga share me. So man siya Wi-Fi direct ang gamit na plus Bluetooth para mas paspas. Then gina-segment ang files and then gina-sumpay lang if mahuman na og transfer. And then lastly we have Android Beam. So kani siya is common na siya karon. NFC based technology. So kanang near field communication na tay ng NFC. So whenever nga na device ma-detect sa duol, so pwede ka maka-connect or maka-share o whatever file you would want to share. So mana siya NFC. Okay, so those are the features of Android. And as you know, dili na siya mao napay uban because of the updates that they are doing. Okay? So what are Android applications? So as I said kanina, Android applications usually developed in the Java language using the Android Software Development Kit. So anong usually development? Because not all are solely developed using Java language. They use Kotlin. Okay, they are implementing Kotlin and other high-level language to develop Android applications. Okay, but still using the Android SDK for the Android features to run. And then once developed, Android applications can be packaged and can be sold sa mga store such as Google Play, SlideMe, so on and so forth. And Android powers hundreds of millions of mobile devices in more than 190 countries because as we all know, Android is the most popular operating system for devices, mobile devices, di ba? Okay, a lot of brands and companies are partnering with Google Android para na sila operating system because it's hard to develop or create an own operating system. So sa karon, we only have 2. In the past, we have 3. We have Windows, iOS, and Android. But Windows or operating system for mobile is a failure, man. So we only have 2, and then Huawei is currently developing its own operating system because of some issues i-cancel sa Google. And Android is owned by Google, man. So that's why. So we can expect that there will be 3 operating systems for mobile devices soon if i-force siya sa Huawei. Okay? So here are the categories of Android application. Dagan siya og Android application sa market as we know. May mga categories music, news, multimedia, sports, lifestyle, food and drink, travel, then so on and so forth. So like like most of the applications and all of Android applications that supports our daily lives or daily needs or nata tanang categories. Okay? So here's the history of Android. So basically, this is the so pagkuan pag-improve sa Android, pag-upgrade sa Android version. Okay, so note that this is only up to Android 10. So na naman tayo. Okay, Android 10 na siya ko to. Okay, so first would be the base version, which is the Android 1.0, which was released on September 23, 2008. So it supports API 1. So API 1 has a description, all the features of the API 1. Okay, then the next would be the base 1.1 version, which is the Android 1.1. So base 1 ang yung pangalan, base 1.1. This was released on February 9, 2009, and it supports API 2 packages. The third would be the Cupcake Android version, Android 1.5, released the same year on April 27, and supports API 3 packages. Next would be the Donut. So I don't think that nadunggan na ninyo ni ang uban because nahimong kuha ng Android sikat diri sa Pinas is start sa gingerbread, if I'm not mistaken. So siguro wala pa nyo nadunggan sa uban. But here are the sequence of the evolution of Android versions. So the Donut, which is the Android 1.6, released on the same year, September 15, and supports API 4 packages. Then next is Eclair. Next is Froyo, gingerbread, honeycomb, and then ice cream sandwich, jelly bean. The Android 4.1 katong may pinakadako nga improvement, so breakthrough sa Android, which is the jelly bean. And then pasunod na dayon KitKat, Lollipop, diri kay nimo nang famous ang Android. And then there are a lot of companies na nagapartner na sa ilaha, mobile device na companies. Then we have Nougat, Oreo, Pi, and the Android 10. Okay, so all siya ang history sa versions of Android. Now let's proceed to installation. So here are the requirements. We have the Microsoft Windows XP or the latest version of Microsoft. Sa Mac OS, you have the 10.5. You can install Android Studio on Mac OS. Okay, hindi siya limited for Windows lang, and then also in Linux. And also there are packages that is needed to be downloaded, which is the development kits and the Android Studio installer itself. So I'm gonna be recording another video for the installation of Android Studio. Okay, so let's proceed to setting up. Okay, I'll be creating a separate video for this for the installation. Okay, so let's proceed the layers for Android. Okay, for you to understand how it works. Okay, so the Android operating system is a stack of software components sa isa ka mobile devices. Ang architecture diagram, and we'll discuss each one of those layers. So first, at the bottom, we have the Linux kernel. So under the Linux kernel layer, we have displayed the drivers, basically for the hardware of the particular device. So this the Linux kernel layer will help your application to detect and identify those hardware na nasa device. Okay, so mga peripheral hardware. So manipulo sa driver para mailhan siya. Same thing to do with your personal computers or laptops. Check purpose the driver. Okay. Next layer would be the libraries. So the second layer is the library, and if you observe na Android runtime driver, discuss that the next slide maybe. So the libraries, so another are mga kits, mga web kits, mga development kits, mga system, di siya matawag system. Ano siya libraries para mag-function ang katong mga core functionalities sa imong application. For example, the kaning OpenGL. So this is used for the video or the display part. Displays a big role in displaying something to your screen. So may media framework that is used to control all the media in your device. Okay, then so on and so forth para sa libraries. And then same Japan ito kanina sa Android libraries in Japan. Okay, so here are the summary of some Android libraries na available sa Android when you are developing. So you can use this one to manipulate those libraries, or not manipulate, to utilize its functionalities and customize as you see fit. So first will be the Android.app. So this library provides access to the application model and the cornerstone of all Android application. So kaning Android.app kay kuan ni siya, mo siya ang isa sa mga pinaka-importante din na gamiton, especially pag mag-develop ka og Android application, because the models are in here in this library, the models for your Android application. Next will be the Android content library. So this will facilitate content access. So you have the like communication between application and components. So this one is also important. So you can create the Android application without using this library. Okay. Next will be the Android database. So this is used to access data published by content providers. So this Android database library is using SQLite database. As what I said kanina, this is an offline database and is utilizing your internal storage or SD card storage depending on what you set. So mo ni siya dili ka siya nga naka ingon nga kanang needed jud to create Android application, because you can create Android application without using this pag walay database nga kinahanglan nimo Android application. So there's no need to use Android database library kung walay database. Okay, and then next library will be the Android OpenGL. So this is used for 3D or graphics rendering kaning OpenGL. And this is not medyo important kayo, depende lang sa unsay mong application na buhaton that you might use this library. Next will be the Android OS. So kani siya nga library provide access to standard operating system services, messaging services, system services, inter-process communication. So same na Japan, dili siya nga required to create a simple Android application. But you might need this, especially when you're going to utilize those features and functionalities na under any library. The next is the Android text. So this library is very important because naman di text dapat ang mga application. So this is used to manipulate text and mga nasa display. Okay? And then another one is the Android View library, which is also very important. Okay, because the Android View contains all the views for your application, meaning mga buttons, sa badara, input boxes, may butang sa imong application user interface. So this is very important. Also, you can create another application without utilizing this Android library. And then another library with the Android widget library. So this is a rich collection of mga added ang sa views DI is katong mga building blocks ang layers. And sa Android widgets are those buttons, labels, list views. Ano siya? So sa view is itong yahang the way nimo siya i-set up. Okay? So these three are very important. And by the way, when you create a project, Android application project, so it's called project man, when you're creating a application. So these are mura siya important na siya daan. Okay? Because they know that this is a prerequisite to successfully create even a simple Android application. And then lastly, we have the WebKit. So this allows web browsing capabilities. So it depends. Di kasi nga naka-important. I mean, dili siya required to create a simple Android application. You can use this one when you have a feature to have a browsing capabilities in your Android application. Okay? So the next layer is the Android runtime. So muna siya ang the third section, or di siya considered third section because it's the same layers with libraries. So on this layer, nadiri ang Dalvik virtual machine. So it's a virtual machine which specially designed and optimized for Android. So kung gamit ang Java, natay natawag na JVM, is the Java virtual machine. So there is a Android, it's using a Dalvik virtual machine. Okay, so Dalvik virtual machine is a Linux-based library. So it has the features of memory management, same lang good sa JVM na features, but in Android. Okay. And also, very important is Dalvik virtual machine enables every Android application to run its own process with its own instance of the Dalvik virtual machine. Okay? And also, the Android item also provide set of core libraries which enables Android application developers to write Android applications using standard Java programming language. Okay, so DVM is allowing us developers, whenever we're developing Android applications, to use Java programming language. So wala mo sa JVM ang Android. So it uses DVM to run Java programming language, which is a high-level programming language. Okay. So next layer is the application framework. Okay, you can see here. Application framework. So under the application framework, we have the services in this layer. You can see na activity manager, puros mga managers, because these are the layers for services, meaning whatever na i-interact sa user, diri mapasa. Okay, muna siya ang nag-handle. So the Android framework, the application framework, muna siya ang mga services. Activity manager, nag-control sa tanan activity. Okay, meaning ang life cycle kung asa niya magipasa-pasa ang user. So it's called activity. Okay? And then next, we have the content providers. So muna siya ang nag-manage sa mga data na nag-interact or yung mga ginapasa-pasa. And then another one would be resource manager. So this is a resource for mga resource or kanang common resources, such as mga strings, any colors, settings, and the layouts. So this has different folder on your project also. And then notifications manager. So this allows notifications, display alerts. So it depends if you would implement notifications. So this would handle this. This service would handle that one. And then we have the another service, the view system. So mo siya nag-allow so mo to create user interface. Nag-handle ng mga user interface sa mga application. And then the last layer would be the application. So mo siya makita sa ka-user. So mo siya nasa top layer, and mo siya ang visible and maki-interact sa mga user. Okay? So examples are contact books, tanan ng applications within your Android application device. Okay? So let's move on and proceed to the next topic, which is the Android application components. What are Android application components? So these are the essential building blocks of Android applications. So meaning, essential building blocks, necessary na siya when you're developing an Android applications. Okay? And these components are loosely coupled by application manifest file, which is the Android manifest.xml. Loosely coupled, meaning dito ni siya na-register tanan dito sa Android manifest file na to, which describes each component of the application and also how they interact. Okay, so sa ilang setting depends on the developer. Okay, so here are the four main components that can be used within an Android application. We have the activities, services, broadcast receivers, and then content providers. So the activities, so what I said kanina, they dictate the handle user interaction, the smartphone screen. So example sa mga activities, pag swipe left, swipe right, pag pag-click sa button, balin sa lain nga activity, kana siya ng mga activities. Okay, so muna siya under one component. Next will be the services. So mga background processes. So kanang dili visible sa user imong ginaparan sa isa ka certain application. So that is called a service component. So kato kaganina kung naga-manage ng mga managers. So di man to makita sa users. Okay? Then the broadcast receivers. So this handles communications sa Android operating system itself and sa imong application nga gina-develop. Okay, so na may mostly features sa Android is utilizing hardware man. So dili man nimo ma-direct og gamit without interacting or communicating with the operating system. So you need to communicate with the operating system before utilizing such device hardware. Okay, so the broadcast receivers are responsible for that. Then next is the content provider. So kani siya is handling the data and database management. So dili lang issues tanan about data and database. So this component is responsible for that. So that four components makes Android application as a whole. So next, explanation for each one of those components. You can read this your own. So ako lang po siyang summarize kanina for is simple and easier to understand. Okay, and then we have additional components. So katong four components kanina are like the most or the very important component, like kanang necessity din siya. Naa siya sa yung project dapat. Okay, and this one are kanang murag bits of components lang siya. Okay, so these are important for din siya sa imong application, pero dili na siya as a whole specific. First is fragments. Okay, this is a portion of UI ng activity. Kaya again, basin ma-confuse mo, activity is para mas dali mo sabtan, isa ka screen nga makita sa user sa mga application, that's called an activity. Okay, another view or another screen, meaning like kanang if ever mo swipe left siya, okay, that's another activity. Okay, when you're developing, para mas dali mo sabtan. Okay, so muna siya activity. However, ang fragment is mura na siya gamay nga view sa imong isa ka activity. So for example, isa ka activity, that's a whole screen, mura siya canvas. Kung gusto nimo duha ka bukla ilahi nga UI, ilahi nga view, you would use fragments. So kung haon nimo siya, ikaw bala kung kapilan nimo tong haon. So that's a fragment. And then next is views. So again, these are the UI elements sa imong application, mga buttons, mga input boxes, mga text, tanan, major buttons. These are called views. Okay, so para sa ganun ko sa HTML pa, form elements. So views ang tawagan na diri. Then next is the layouts. So this is like the canvas in your application. So kung unsa nimo siya gusto i-view, sunod ba siya? Like for example, top to bottom, siya ang layout, or naka-anchor ba siya? Like kani kay sa taas lang din siya, kani kay sa ubos. Meaning kung bisag unsa pa kadakuon ng screen or bisag unsa pa kagamayon ng screen, nadyo na siya sa taas or sa ubos permanente, or pwede pod nga scrollable ba siya? scrollable horizontal, scrollable vertical, or ikaw mo na siya ang layout. So, types of layouts sa Android Studio. Next would be intents. So, intents, messages, wiring components together. So, ang purpose, intent, to give you a like, na best example ani, use ginagamit siyang intent to send or transfer a data to another activity. So, for example, nagdawat kog input. So, if gusto niyo na siya ipasa sa next na activity, you would enclose that with intent and then ipasa niyo sa next activity and then para ma-access niyo ang katong mga inputs. So, muna siyang mostly purpose ng ginagamit ng intent. Okay? So, di lang siya sa mga text. You can also transfer data such as images and files. Nga. Okay? And then resources, as what I've said kaganina, mga resources nimo such as mga string. Mag-create ka constant string, mga colors, mga pictures, vectors, constants. Depends sa mga kwan siya. Kaya mura siya nimo na kayo mga sariling storage ba. For example, ay gusto ko mag-add picture. So, dali niya siya ibutang para hanay siya. Okay? And even if mag-drag and drop lang kasi mga application, dali man po na siya mag-diretso butang. Because it can detect media files. Then we have the manifest. So that's the manifest. The configuration file for the application. So na-register ng mga components sa mga applications. Naka-activity, create kag bagong activity or bagong file, dili na siya mabutang. Okay, mabutang na siya tanan dara. Then mabutang kung kisa mo na ipagawas na activity. So na-diritan sa manifest. Kung wala nimo manifest, murag nimo siyang kanang controller ba? Or organizer. Okay, so diri na mo diretso ang inyong mga once you run, diri na siya mo diretso para makabalo siya sa una buhaton. So kung wala ni, okay, dili gid na mag-run yung application. Okay? And then let's proceed to the anatomy of under application. So here's the anatomy, meaning ano siya ang ato makita when we're developing a project. Nasa left side sa ato ang IDE. So first we have the Java folder. So this folder contains the Java source file sa imong project, and by default na siya yung activity.java, pero pag mo i-rename, sumawala dyan siya. But by default, it's called the main activity.java. Ano siya ang nakabutang sa imong manifest na pinakauna niya nga basahon na file ng mga project. Okay? That runs when your app is launched using that icon. And then next would be the res/drawable HTTPI. So this is under the resource folder. So another kay mga drawable objects. Okay, so mga vectors, mga images, na siya. Pwede na siya mabutang. So muna siya under sa resource. The next we have the res layout. So under Japanese sa resource, another is kining kuan ng layout sa mga UI kung ginsa nimo pag design. So it depends on what layout mo ibutang dere. The next we have the values. So kung kaganina, mga strings, colors, constants. So diri na siya under sa values na folder under sa resources. And then another one that you can see is the Android manifest.xml. So muna siyang file wherein dito na save tanan ng mga components sa mga Android application. And then last would be the build.gradle. So auto-generated ni siya. Nadiri ang murag kung mga settings sa mga Android. Yung mga Android application. So, unsa nga SDK version ang iyang gamiton, unsa nga build tools version, unsa nga SDK, minimum SDK o target SDK. So nani siya yung mga guys. So you need to take note. For example, you're developing an Android application. So you need to see jud unsa nga SDK version ang cover. For example, gusto nimo nga mag-run siya smoothly sa Android 8 to Android 10. So tanaw nimo unsa na silang SDK version. So minimum is Android 8, tanaw nimo sa SDK version, and then target SDK version, wala siya maximum is Android 10. So tanaw nimo sa SDK version para mga code mag-adjust na siya sa kana nga SDK version nga may declare. Okay? And
the version code and the version name. So unsa nga kanang namoy panagsa nga mulahi na yung syntax and then ay uban na function na wala na sa next na update sa version code. Pero ko na siya grayed out na dili na magamit because na sila gibuhat nga nga function. So ano siya, you need to determine this also. Okay? And then here's an example of, I mean, the definition of manifest file. So, ako naman siya i-explain ka ganina, like 3 times na already. So, you can just read this, okay, on your own. And then, the strings file. So, kato, sa res values ni siya, resource values, atay strings na file dito, strings.xml. Dili na butang ang kuan, nga tanan nga string related, nga mga declarations. And then, layout file, diri mabutang ang tanan layouts, okay, under sa res layout directory, and so ito siya, okay. So I think that would be all for the introduction of the Android Studio. I'll be creating a separate video for the installation. Thank you.